Participate in a true multimedia experience coming to a home near you. LCM TV is bringing Lake County into the new millennium with news, live broadcast, information, music, talk shows, and local programming, all streaming in high definition online and soon to be on your Roku box. Join us at lcm-tv.com or be a part of our studio audience. You can also watch the shows at lakecomagazine.com as we provide programming to inform.
SSS Multimedia is sending you smoke signals, providing their clients with the ultimate
Go ahead then.
This is LCM TV News. This is Friday morning, April 24th. In the national news, I'm Pete Chiffin. I'm sorry, folks. I need to introduce myself, I guess. Anyway, in national news front, an American and Italian held hostage by Al-Qaeda were accidentally killed in a U.S. counterterrorism operation earlier this year, the White House said on Thursday. The White House also revealed that 2 American terror operatives were killed, but the revelation that hostages died in an apparent drone strike is leading to a full review. President Obama, speaking from the White House, expressed grief and condolences for the deaths of the hostages, American development expert Warren Weinstein, and Italian national Giovanni Loporto. I take full responsibility for all our counterterrorism operations, including the one that inadvertently took the lives of Warren and Giovanni. That is according to Obama. I profoundly regret what happened. On behalf of the United States and government, I offer our deepest apologies to the families. The White House said both men were accidentally killed in the Operation January drone strike. 2 other Americans were killed. They have been identified as Al-Qaeda operatives. A Baltimore man who died after sustaining a spinal injury in police custody was hurt while riding inside a police van, the lawyer representing the officers in the case said Wednesday. What happened to the man, Freddie Gray, 25, when he was arrested by Baltimore police officers, has been a mystery since his death on Sunday, a week after his arrest. In a news conference on Wednesday, the officer's lawyer, Michael Davey, questioned whether Mr. Gray had been screaming in pain while being dragged to the van and said the officer had done nothing wrong. Our position is something happened in that van, Davey, who represents Fraternal Order Police, said. We just don't know what. After his arrest, Gray was placed in the back of the van, which Davey said had bench seats with seat belts and a wire barrier running down the center. The officers did not place Davey in a seat belt, a step that is sometimes skipped when a suspect's behavior might present a danger to an officer's life in close quarters, according to Davey once again. A federal judge on Thursday sentenced General David Petraeus, the highest profile general from the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, to 2 years probation for disclosing classified information. He was also fined $100,000, $60,000 more than the government had recommended. The sentencing was the end of a leaked investigation that embarrassed Petraeus and created bitter disputes inside the Justice Department about whether he was receiving too much leniency from Attorney General Holder. FBI officials and some prosecutors had contended that Petraeus should receive prison time providing highly classified journals to a woman with whom he had an affair and who wrote his biography when he was the director of the CIA. But Holder sided with Petraeus, ultimately deciding to agree to recommend that he be spared of prison time. After one of the nation's longest-running cabinet-level confirmations, 166 days, the Senate narrowly approved Loretta Lynch yesterday to be the U.S. Attorney General. She is the first of African American and the first woman to hold this position. Her confirmation took longer than all but 2 nominees for the office. Edward Meese III, who was nominated by President Ronald Reagan, and A. Mitchell Palmer, who was picked by President Woodrow Wilson. Republicans have found themselves in a quandary for months. They longed to replace Attorney General Eric Holder, and they agreed that Mrs. Lynch was qualified for the job. But they opposed her because Lynch defended President Obama's executive actions on immigration. Bruce Davis, a Charles Manson follower who once bragged of cutting a man's head off, lost another parole bid for 2 murders that have kept him in prison for 45 years. Davis said records show there is evidence he is dangerous and should not be freed, Judge William C. Ryan wrote Wednesday, in upholding the governor's reversal of a parole board decision to free him. Mr. Davis, 72, was sentenced to life in the 1969 slayings of musician Gary Hinman and stuntman Donald Shea. The U.S. Geological Survey released its first comprehensive assessment of the link between thousands of earthquakes and oil and gas operations yesterday, identifying and mapping 17 regions where quakes have occurred. It was the agency's broadest statement yet on a danger that has grown along with the nation's energy production. The hardest hit state is Oklahoma, where earthquakes are hundreds of times more common than they were until a few years ago because of the disposal of wastewater left over from extracting fuels and from drilling wells by injecting water into the earth, also known as fracking. The report also mapped parts of 8 other states, from Lake Erie to the Rocky Mountains, where that practice has caused quakes, and said most of them were at risk for the more significant shaking in the future. Oklahoma used to experience only 1 or 2 earthquakes per year of magnitude 3 or greater, and now they're experiencing 1 or 2 a day, the chief author of the report said. Oklahoma now has more earthquakes of that magnitude than California. The report came 2 days after Oklahoma's government acknowledged, for the first time, the scientific consensus that wastewater disposal linked to oil and gas drilling was to blame for the huge surge in earthquakes. The state introduced an interactive map showing quake locations and places where wastewater is injected into the ground, and state-run Oklahoma Geological Survey said considers it very likely that the practice is causing most of the shaking. Hydraulic fracturing, a drilling technique that injects a high-pressure mix of water and chemicals into the ground to break rock formations and release gas, has drawn widespread attention. But injecting water to dispose of waste from drilling or production is a far greater contributor to earthquakes. The federal report excluded human activity, like mining, that can cause quakes but does not involve large-scale fluid injection. With federal regulators seemingly ready to give the thumbs down on the deal, Comcast will call off its $45 billion merger with Time Warner Cable, according to a Bloomberg report. Recent reports have circulated that the Justice Department would be presenting a case against the deal, joining the Federal Communications Commission against approval. Public interest groups have said the merger would not be a benefit for consumers. A merged deal among the companies would give the combined entity up to a 60% share of the U.S. broadband business and a 30% share of U.S. cable TV video distribution business. Bloomberg said FCC officials told the 2 biggest U.S. cable companies on Wednesday that they're leaning towards concluding that the merger does not help consumers. Comcast believed the combined companies could mean big benefits for consumers when it comes to broadband and video services. News of the deal being dropped helped lift the stock price of the companies during the day. Comcast closed 1% higher to $59.36, and the stock was up around 2.5% in midday trading. Time Warner Cable closed down 0.8% to $148.45. The stock has been 4% higher in midday trading. They called each other dude, mate, and amigo, suggesting a certain innocence to their friendship, and yet at the center of their dispatches, U.S. and British authorities say it was actually a collusion effort to manipulate world-side interest rates. Deutsche Bank, which on Thursday became the latest big bank to settle acquisitions, that it manipulated interest rates, underpinning trillions of dollars in mortgages, student loans, and other debt. To settle the case, the bank agreed to pay $2.5 billion in penalties, a record for interest rate cases, which have already stung the likes of Barclays and UBS. Deutsche Bank, Germany's largest financial institution, and at least for now, a problem child in the eyes of regulators, also agreed to accept a criminal guilty plea for the British subsidiary at the center of the case. It is the most significant bank to accept a criminal plea in the long-running investigation into the manipulation of the LIBOR. While the deal requires Deutsche Bank to dismiss certain employees, no one at the bank has been criminally charged, though in at least one previous LIBOR case, prosecutors charged individuals after reaching a settlement with the bank itself. We're going to take a break right now, folks. We'll be back with the regional news in just a few seconds.
The taxman's taken all my dough and left me in my stately home, blazing on a sunny afternoon. And I can't sail my yacht, he's taken everything I got. All I've got's this sunny afternoon.
Manticorp Tax and Accounting can help you minimize taxation, establish a corporate presence, and save you money. Our over 25 years of experience in domestic and international taxation and incorporation services makes us the best at what we do. Your first consultation at Manticorp is always free, and our discounted rates guarantee you will not end up paying for what you don't get. Try Manticorp today. For more information, call 707-701-6416 or email info@manticorpusa.com.
In the summertime.
Welcome back, folks. We have a slight correction to our story regarding Loretta Lynch being nominated and approved as the Attorney General. She is the first African American to be appointed as Attorney General. However, she was not the first. Janet Napolitano was actually the first Attorney General appointed. We apologize for that mistake. Okay, on the regional news, the U.S. Geological Survey reported a magnitude of 5.5 earthquake at 6:34 Thursday evening, 100 miles west of Eureka. The epicenter was 295 miles northwest of San Francisco. The National Tsunami Warning Center said there was no tsunami danger. A pilot intentionally crashed his plane into a field in Shasta County Saturday. The previous day, Zachary Stickler, 34, pleaded not guilty in Shasta County Superior Court to making criminal threats and to a misdemeanor battery charge stemming from an alleged domestic dispute. Sheriff's officials said they did not know what triggered Stickler to take his life. Congressman Mike Thompson voted Thursday against giving President Barack Obama fast-track trade authority in negotiations with nations in the Pacific Rim and Europe. Thompson, a Democrat from St. Helena, was among 13 Democrats in the House Ways and Means Committee who voted against the legislation, which is similar to that passed earlier by the Senate Finance Committee. 2 Democrats and 23 Republicans supported the bill, sponsored in the House by Representative Paul Ryan, a Republican from Wisconsin. It now goes to the floor for consideration by the full House. By his vote, Thompson broke with the local wine industry that mostly has contended that the special authority is crucial to help the Obama administration to obtain better trade agreements, including a forthcoming Asia-Pacific Pact. We should do all we can to grow exports because it means more jobs, but it cannot be done at the expense of American workers, health and safety, and the environment, Thompson said in a statement. There is room for improvement in this bill, and it is my hope that we can work across the aisle to make those improvements as the bill moves forward. In an earlier conservation, Thompson remarked, "You said it's good for American workers," he said to Commerce Secretary Penny Pritzker. "It is just coincidental that every American worker in my district that's talked to me about this is solidly against it." Thompson acknowledged Wednesday that under the right conditions, increased exports could be a huge win for my district and the rest of the nation, but he added, "I'm just not sure if this TPA gets us to where we need to be." He questioned why the legislation made no mention of climate change and asked whether future trade agreements could effectively void California rules on environmental and other protections. On Thursday, Thompson and the other Democrats offered a series of amendments, all voted down by the majority. 2 Caltrans District 1 employees are being awarded the Governor's State Employee Medal of Valor for acts of heroism during a rescue operation north of Gasquet in Del Norte County in late 2011. The employees, Johnny James and Jerry Bachman, were members of a maintenance crew in Del Norte County returning to their maintenance yard from the site of an oil spill cleanup when they spotted tire tracks leading off U.S. Highway 199 and over an embankment. James and Bachman acted quickly and assessed the situation. A vehicle had skidded off the road and overturned on its way down the embankment before coming to rest against a tree. The tree was the only thing that prevented the vehicle from plummeting to the riverbed below. 2 occupants, Peter and Susan Aspinwall, were inside. The 2 Caltrans employees kept the occupants of the vehicle calm and as comfortable as possible while working to extract them. They worked on scene for approximately 45 minutes before other emergency responders arrived, putting their lives on the line to save the vehicle occupants. At one point, Bachman used himself as a shield to protect one victim from falling rock during the rescue. "It's just part of who we are, it's what we do," Bachman said. "I don't make a big deal out of it. I've got friends that don't even know about it. It's just nice to help people," James said. James and Bachman attended an award ceremony at the California Highway Patrol Academy in West Sacramento. The Governor's State Employee Medal of Valor Award is the highest honor California bestows on its public servants. To date, 523 medals have been awarded to state employees in all professions. The same group that tried unsuccessfully to repeal California's Transgender Students' Right Act has proposed a new ballot measure that would restrict the restrooms transgender people can use. It's called the Personal Privacy Protection Act and would require people to use facilities in accordance with their biological sex in government-owned buildings, including public schools and universities. It would not apply to single-occupancy restrooms or to family restrooms. The proposal would allow people who felt their privacy had been violated by a transgender person who entered the restroom unlawfully to sue that individual or the government entity for a minimum of $4,000. The Obama administration announced Tuesday that it will not designate a small population of greater sage-grouse in Nevada and California as threatened or endangered. This decision likely foreshadows the administration's much-anticipated decision this fall on whether to protect hundreds of thousands of the birds in a vast range that covers 11 western states. The Medicine Lake Highlands are a remote landscape of clear lakes, striking lava flows, and mountains of glass-like obsidian. Yet within the highlands are numerous sacred sites that represent the spiritual heart of the Pitt River tribe, and beneath the highlands as well lies somewhere between 20 and 40 million acre-feet of pristine aquifer water, which some say may be California's most important safeguard against the prolonged drought. But the future of both the Pitt River tribe's religion and California's water may be threatened by plans for geothermal development at Medicine Lake, the largest shield volcano. Medicine Lake, known as the Satila, is a very special place, and not just for Pitt River people, but for all people. Even the white people called it Medicine Lake because they experienced how the waters are healing, said Radley Davis, Pitt River tribal member and vice chair of the Native Coalition to defend the Medicine Lake Highlands. But the government and the corporations seem to be fighting the people and trying to destroy this place. On March 12th, more than 150 Pitt River, Cuba, and Wintu people, as well as environmentalists and other supporters, marched through the streets of San Francisco and rallied at the Ninth District Court of Appeals, where 3 judges heard arguments in a lawsuit brought by the Pitt River Tribe and its allies contesting the legality of the geothermal plants. Since the 1980s, the U.S. Bureau of Land Management and Energy Corporation Calpine have been investigating massive geothermal power projects, which they acknowledge would desecrate the sacred areas around Medicine Lake, where the Pitt River Tribe conducts ceremonies, healings, and gatherings. Though government officials argue the risk is minimal, new scientific studies indicate the hydraulic fracking technology that would be used at the power plants could contaminate a water source that is larger than the combined volume of California's 200 biggest reservoirs. Initially, Calpine was investigating a couple different sites for a 49-megawatt plant, but a 2011 letter from Calpine to the BOM indicates its plans a 480-megawatt project, which Pitt River officials says means that they want to build 5 power plants in the Medicine Lake caldera. We're here to take a stand against the federal government and Calpine, who are trying to destroy a sacred area and contaminate our water tables with their drilling, said Pitt River Tribe Chairman Mickey Jamel. We're trying to protect this place for future generations, for Pitt River people, and we're trying to protect the water for all of California. Public schools in California would have to phase out use of the term Redskins for their athletic team names or mascots under a bill advanced Tuesday by a state assembly panel. The California Racial Mascots Act would bar the use of a name by public schools beginning January 1st. But to address the cost issues, the measure would allow schools to continue to use sports and band uniforms and other materials bearing the name, as long as they've selected a new name for future use and did not buy all new uniforms bearing the old name. Schools would be able to replace up to 20% of uniforms with the old name until January 1st, 2019. If you're feeling like out-of-control rents aren't getting any better, you're right. They're actually getting worse. The website Apartment List revealed this week its latest California rental price monitor, and the results are scary. California rents have increased at twice the rate of the average national rent hike. In the last year, Californians have suffered an average of 4.9% increase versus 2.5% for the nation as a whole. Legalization of online poker in California is now a hot topic, as the most populated state in the U.S. debates whether or not to open its doors to the virtual game. Over the coming months, starting this week, the state has scheduled 4 hearings to discuss online poker and internet gaming. This bill would authorize the operation of an internet poker website within the borders of the state. Mendocino County Sheriff's deputies on routine patrol on Highway 1 just south of Fort Bragg on Sunday when they observed a small animal moving slowly in the roadway and stopped to render aid. Due to the darkness and the dense fog, the animal is very difficult to see and most likely would have been struck by a vehicle if the deputies had not stopped. The animal was a California Seal Lion pup, about 30 inches in length, weighing approximately 20 pounds, that had walked about a quarter of a mile from the ocean. The pup had an orange tag attached to its front flipper and was extremely friendly with the deputies, rubbing against their legs for attention. Sheriff's deputies contacted the Marine Mammal Center, based out of Sausalito. They identified the pup from the flipper tag and said it had been released from their rehabilitation center, where it learned to interact with people. Center staff determined the sea lion's pup's health had remained stable since its release. It was not in any type of distress, based on information provided by the sheriff's deputies. They asked the sheriff's deputies to assist the sea lion pup back to the ocean. The sea lion pup climbed into the rear of the patrol vehicle, and the sheriff's deputies gave it a ride back to its home. To report an injured or distressed marine mammal, the Marine Mammal Center can be contacted 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, at 415-289-SEAL. Folks, appreciate you watching. We're going to take a commercial break. No, I've just been told by my director we're not. We're going to continue with the news, folks. The State Water Resource Control Board ordered about 1,500 farms and individuals in the Central Valley to stop taking water from rivers and streams for irrigation, the latest move by state regulators to save water amid intensifying drought conditions. It was the start of the latest round of water restrictions, as rivers and streams across California run too dry to provide enough water to grow crops and to provide safe passage for fish. California's Corrections Department has rejected a recommendation that its Inspector General says could help reduce an extraordinary high homicide rate in state prisons, officials said on Thursday. The department will not reinstate a policy dropped 15 years ago that required potential sensitive needs cellmates to fill out a compatibility form before they are housed together. Sex offenders, former gang members, and other vulnerable inmates are placed in a special sensitive needs housing for their protection. The Inspector General and an analysis by the Associated Press published in February found that a disproportionate number of homicide victims were sensitive needs inmates. A fourth marijuana-related ballot initiative was filed with the Secretary of State on Tuesday. Chad Haynes and Miranda Haynes submitted the Responsible Use Act of 2016 for a title and summary. It allows up to 24 ounces for personal possession, as well as 12 mature plants. It establishes a self-funding, comprehensive regulatory scheme for the commercial sales of marijuana and allows municipalities to reasonably regulate such licensed establishments to ensure product safety. It also establishes initial sales tax of $5.60 an ounce, or 20 cents a gram, on recreational marijuana, which would entirely fund the regulatory program, with revenues going towards water quality, water supply, and watershed protection and restoration projects. A decision on a lawsuit stalling construction on the Costco store proposed for Ukiah will be made within a month's time, Mendocino County Superior Court Judge Jeannie Nadell announced on Friday. Costco is proposing to build a 150,000 square foot warehouse and a 16-pump gas station at the end of Airport Park Boulevard near Highway 101 in Ukiah. After numerous lengthy hearings, both the Planning Commission and City Council have approved the project, and Costco was prepared to construct the store last fall. The plaintiffs, who are Food Max employees Rachel Land and Patty Hernandez, allege that the environmental impact report prepared for the project should never have been certified for a variety of reasons, including that the corresponding improvements to the Highway 101 and Talmadge Road interchange were not included, and that the noise impacts to the surrounding area were not adequately mitigated. We'll be right back, folks. Stay tuned, and we'll be back with the local news.
SSS Multimedia is sending you smoke signals, providing their clients with the ultimate communication and multimedia marketing, distribution, production, and web-based services. They feature high-def video equipment and quality audio sound. SSS is your multimedia source, from graphics for business cards to television production, radio, live sound, and everything in between. SSS is sending you smoke signals. Get your message out with SSS Multimedia. For more information, call 707-701-6416 or email info@sssmultimedia.com.
Welcome back, folks. In local news, a case management conference involving District 5 Supervisor Rob Brown and his company, Lake County Bail Bonds, was postponed Tuesday after confusion arose over legal representation. Susan Feeney, who previously represented Betty Welsh and Robert and Jan Sanders, said that they were seeking another attorney. A case management conference is a meeting between the parties involved, their lawyers and the judge. The main purpose is to attempt settling some or all of the disputed issues prior to trial. The case regards an altercation that occurred between Brown and the plaintiffs, Robert and Jan Sanders, in 2012, when Brown went to serve civil paperwork at a house located on Buckeye Street in Clear Lake. Brown entered Sanders' property to tell Sanders that he owned their house and they would be paying him rent. Sanders tried to escort Brown off the property according to court documents. That's when Brown allegedly punched him in the ribs and face. According to the court documents, the Sanders say Brown was acting in a hostile and aggressive manner. Brown claimed he had acted in self-defense. According to witnesses across the street, when Rob Brown entered the property, he punched Sanders' Labrador Retriever in the head. The dog subsequently died after suffering from seizures related to the head injury. This is live TV, folks. Court documents state that the Sanders and Welsh, who is also listed as the plaintiff, entered an agreement to buy the house in 1997 for a total of $40,000. The final payment was made in May of 2007. Welsh entered an agreement for $10,000 with Brown and Lake County bail bonds. Welsh and Sanders contend the agreement was made using another house on a neighboring property, that the $10,000 was repaid, and that they were not informed that Brown was charging interest on the loan until their son went to prison. The Lake County Board of Supervisors elected not to vote on whether or not to support a letter to be sent to Congressman Mike Thompson, declaring their support for the Trans-Pacific Partnership. The partnership is a program that would presumably ease trade relations between California and the U.S. as a whole, with various countries in the Americas and Southeast Asia. The letter states that the trade agreement would lead to greater trade between the West Coast and Asian markets, in which Lake County would benefit, ostensibly by boosting the amount of agricultural products, pears and walnuts, that the county is able to export to Asian markets. District 3 Supervisor Jim Steele objected to sending a letter directly to the federal representative, stating that he felt the letter would bypass Lake County's state representatives who are lobbying the state agencies on our behalf. Two members of the public addressed the Board of Supervisors regarding the subject, both voicing strong opposition to the TPP and the potential negative effects on the U.S. sovereignty. The Lakeport City Council voted unanimously in favor of a pre-zoning ordinance that would amend the city's map for the South Main Street and Soda Bay Road area, as well as the city's sphere of influence. The city's sphere of influence is unincorporated land representing its ultimate boundaries and comprises an area of nearly 5 square miles. It includes areas the city may annex in the future. The intent is to adopt pre-zoning that would be consistent with the general plan land use map and also consistent with county zoning in place, Richard Knoll, Lakeport Special Project Coordinator, said. It allows the city to be the lead agency for CEQA review for an annexation project. Without that in place, LAFCO would be the lead agency. LAFCO, or the Local Agency Formation Commission, is charged in part with overseeing special districts and growth issues. Pre-zoning is completed before the city formally annexes an area to facilitate its transition into the city. However, it doesn't affect the area's allowable uses, and county zoning regulations stay in effect until the annexation is accomplished. In February, the council approved a resolution amending the Lakeport General Plan to address land use, conservation, infrastructure, utilities, and growth policies. The annexation of the area south of the city limits has sparked debate between the city and county as far back as 2011. Last night, the city of Clear Lake assessed properties for not cleaning up their code enforcement issues, heard a presentation from Way to Wellfield, heard a presentation from Loudoun County Marketing Organization, Lake County Marketing Organization, and a presentation from Police Chief Clausen on the effects of AB 109 and Prop 47, which resulted in a consensus to support the chief in writing letters from the city to Sacramento in support of amending and or changing Prop 47. They also approved the PG&E PACE program that would allow commercial property owners to assess properties to upgrade buildings for energy efficiency, i.e. solar panels, windows, etc. There was also consensus to have a conversation about creating a marketing committee to help ensure that the city of Clear Lake is well represented in the marketing of Lake County, and they ended up with a consensus to discuss reviewing a rate change for the use of the senior center. City Council member Bruno Sabatier, who has worked diligently with the City of Clear Lake staff, including Public Works Director Doug Herron, and the staff of Public Works, putting in many hours on the renovation of the skate park in Austin Park. Now they are struggling to get it done in time. The park may not be completed before Andy Day, which is tomorrow, April 25th. If they cannot get the park completed in time, they will reschedule Andy Day to another Saturday in the near future after the project is finished. Lake County Magazine will keep you posted on that situation. Clear Lake's Yuba College students organized 25 booths for this year's Earth Day celebration on Wednesday. The event featured a raffle, a free water bottle giveaway, and the flower garden starts for preschool-aged children to take home. Musicians performed, and the crowd enjoyed lunch prepared by students of Yuba's award-winning culinary program. Student Body Class Secretary Danelle Stennett, along with Associated Student Body President Ruby Tu, and about 10 other students worked for about a month to plan the day's celebration. Stennett said, "We put in a lot of effort. It's better than last year's with more participation." Kelseyville Future Farmers of America celebrated National FFA Week at Kelseyville High School recently. The FFA officer team planned a variety of activities during lunch, which included a petting zoo, Farm Olympics, an oxy-fuel race car event, a plant judging competition, chicken poo bingo, window displays downtown, and a truck, car, and tractor show. The final event was a school-wide rally and the announcement of the FFA Sweetheart Scholarship winner, Mary McAllister. Folks, we'll take a short break. We'll be back soon with sports.
The taxman's taken all my dough and left me in my stately home, blazing on a sunny afternoon. And I can't sail my yacht, he's taken everything I got. All I've got's this sunny afternoon.
Manticorp Tax and Accounting can help you minimize taxation, establish a corporate presence, and save you money. Our over 25 years of experience in domestic and international taxation and incorporation services makes us the best at what we do. Your first consultation at Manticorp is always free, and our discounted rates guarantee you will not end up paying for what you don't get. Try Manticorp today. For more information, call 707-701-6416 or email info@manticorpusa.com.
In the summertime.
In sports, for the first time in shot clock era, the Warriors won a game in which they trailed by at least 20 points entering the fourth quarter. A shot clock gives a team 24 seconds to attempt a shot or else lose possession of the ball. Stephen Curry scored 40 points, including a three-pointer in the final seconds of regulation to complete a 20-point fourth quarter comeback, and the Golden State Warriors beat New Orleans 123-119 in overtime Thursday evening to take a 3-0 lead in the first-round playoff series. Curry hit 7 threes in all, including one to start overtime, that gave the Warriors the lead for good. The San Francisco Giants last night played the final game of a three-game series against the LA Dodgers. With a strong outing by pitcher Ryan Fulghasong, the Giants beat the Dodgers by a score of 3-2. The Giants won the prior two games of the series with Tim Lincecum and Madison Bumgarner providing strong pitching performances. The three-game sweep brought the Giants within 3 games of the division-leading Dodgers, but are still in last in the division. Also last night, the Oakland A's faced the LA Angels. The A's pitchers only allowed 1 hit, but unfortunately it was a home run with 1 man on base. This was enough offensive power, allowing the Angels to beat the A's 2-0. Oakland is now 8-9 for the season, having split the last 10 games. They are 1.5 games out of first place. With the weather, in spite of cooler temperatures in the mid-40s and overcast skies, which will give way to partly sunny skies later today with a 0 chance of rain. Highs will be around 65, with winds from the west at 15 to 25 miles per hour. Later tonight, there's an 80% chance of rain, with a possibility of up to 0.06% in rainfall. Of an inch, folks. Skies will be cloudy with some light rain likely. Lows in the mid-40s, and winds would be from the west-southwest at 10 to 20 miles per hour. On Saturday, there'll be a 20% chance of rain, with mixed sunshine and clouds. The high will be in the mid-60s around the county. Winds are out of the northwest at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Saturday night, there's no chance of rain as we have a mostly clear sky with lows in the low 40s. Winds will be out of the west at 10 to 15 miles per hour. No rain is anticipated at all. On Sunday, there will be mostly sunny skies with highs in the mid-70s. Winds will be from the northwest-west at 5 to 10 miles an hour with a 0 chance of rain. Sunday night will be mostly clear with lows in the low 50s. Winds from the north-northwest at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Monday morning will feature a mainly sunny sky with highs in the high 80s. Winds will be out of the northeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour, and there will be no chance of rain. Now for our final last word. The California Assembly on Thursday unanimously approved a bill to rename the Waldo Tunnel after late comedian Robin Williams. That's our news show for the day, folks. We'll be back on Monday, same time at 12 o'clock. Look forward to seeing you then. Have a great weekend.
You are invited to participate in a true multimedia experience coming to a home near you. LCM TV is bringing Lake County into the new millennium with news, live broadcast, information, music, talk shows, and local programming, all streaming in high definition online and soon to be on your Roku box. Join us at lcm-tv.com or be a part of our studio audience. You can also watch the shows at lakecomagazine.com as we provide programming to inform, enlighten, and maybe even enrage you. On Lake County Magazine Talk Show with Terry and Pete the Tax Guy, Wednesday mornings at 9 a.m. Like racing? Try the Checkered Flag Show, hosted by Ace Naylor on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. All ages and divisions in regional and national fields. Joni Lane brings a positive light to you every Monday at 3 p.m. Pasha Space brings an international flair as they discuss ecological, health, and social issues in Haiti with people around the world. End up your week with positive, conscious sounds on Saturday at 9 a.m. with Sister T on the Bridge. This show is also simulcast on KMEC 105.1 FM in Ukiah. Our latest show, LCM TV News, is brought to you live Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at noon, and rebroadcast at 6:30 p.m. and noon daily, Tuesday, Saturday, and Sunday, featuring national, regional, and local news, weather, and sports. We have it all here for you on your local TV station, LCM TV. Join us online and soon on Roku, giving you access to all the best Lake County has to offer. We are LCMTV.com, your multimedia connection. Tune in for the fun. It's live TV at its best.